This is question number 6 of homework 11 for chapter 11. So you have a project. Basically, this is a restaurant. So after doing a financial analysis of this venture, you estimate that the initial outlay will be $5.6 million. You also estimate that there is a 50% chance that this new restaurant will be well received and will produce annual cash flows of $780,000 per year forever, while there's a 50% chance of it producing a cash flow of only $220,000 per year forever. So both are perpetuity, but there's uncertainty for which scenario will actually happen, and with equal chance. What is the NPV of the restaurant if the required rate of return you use to discount the project cash flows is 11%? So as the starting point, let's just put the numbers into the right place into my worksheet. So the initial investment is basically $5.6 million. And we have to check on the rounding requirement. Here it says round to the nearest dollar. So let me use the dollar for each number here. So initial investment is going to be $5.6 million. Basically is this. And then continue the setup. So there are two scenarios. One is the good scenario, another one is the bad scenario. Good scenario gonna have $780,000 per year forever. So two scenarios. Good state is so let me put the state here. State, and this is the annual cash flow, and this is the probability, right? And then we have two state. So annual cash flow under the good state is 780,000, and this happens with 50% chance. And the annual cash flow under the bad state is 220,000, and this also happens with 50% chance. Because the probability must sum up to 1, so I just use 1 minus the other probability to calculate the probability of the bad state. So now that's basically about the question. The first part is assume the required rate of return you use to discount the project cash flows 11%. So the discount rate basically, this is the discount rate is 11%. And then what is the NPV of the restaurant if things go well, right? NPV. So this is the NPV, and this is the state. So why don't I switch the column? So this is the state. So let me just put the NPV in this column here. So basically that's since this is a perpetuity, right? The perpetuity, we can calculate the present value of the perpetuity by dividing the annual cash flows by the discount rate. So under the good state, the annual cash flow is basically this one, this number here, and that's going to divide by the discount rate. And then we have to subtract the initial investment from this, because so far this is just the present value of all future cash flows. So we have to net out the initial cash outlay, which is the initial investment. So that's basically my NPV under the good state. And I do want to fix this sale value for this the discount rate. and also fix the sale value for the initial investment. And now I want to drag the sale to the other state, under the bad state, and you can see that this can automatically give me the NPV under the bad state, which is the B4, that's the annual cash flow divided by $B $5, which is the discount rate, and minus $B $1, which is the initial investment. So I just copy the number back for each state. That's my round to the nearest dollar. So get rid of the decimal place and check my answer. And then just copy the number under the bad state to the second blank here. So the using the, I guess we have to add a negative sign for that and check my answer here. And then if there's a 50% chance, so it's calculating what is the expected NPV of the restaurant, right? So expected. So expected NPV basically can be calculated. So why don't I just put the number here? Expected can be calculated by multiplying that, by multiplying the NPV under the good state and the probability for the good state, and plus the NPV under the bad state and multiply by the probability of the bad state. That's how we calculate the expected NPV. So that gives me a negative number, right? So that gives me, just copy that number back and just get rid of the rounding, the decimal places, because it's asking us to round to the nearest dollar. And then check my answer, and then continue that. So basically this question, the key of this question is basically about a rare option. Because even though the expected NPV of this project turns out to be negative, we might want still to take on this project, at least to delay this project. Well, actually, I think it's taking on this project because whether the good state or the bad state occurs depends on whether the restaurant will be well received or poorly received. But we can only know that for sure if we open the restaurant, and then the customers can decide whether the restaurant is, whether they like the restaurant or not. So there's basically inherent option inside this project, because if the customers turn out to like this restaurant, which means that the good state will happen, then we know that NPV is positive. But if it turns out that the customers don't like the restaurant, then the bad state will happen. Then we know that the NPV is negative. And then if the good state occurs, then the NPV turns out to be positive. So our opening the restaurant will turn out to be a smart decision. And then if the bad state occurs, we can still abandon the project. And we don't have to incur this annual low cash flows forever, because we have the option to abandon this project after just 1 year, after we have learned whether the restaurant is popular or not, based on customers' feedback. So let's read the setup of B. The real options that this analysis may be ignoring include that Tex-Mex Thai has the option to basically I guess to deny the project if the new restaurant is received. Oh, sorry, it's not delayed, to expand the project if the new restaurant is received well, and to abandon the project if it is received poorly. So, and then we can just have a final check. Good job. And finally, we still have part C. Although the expected NPV is negative, if the firm has the ability to expand on this project if it is received well, then it should be taken on, since the firm has the option to abandon the restaurant if it is not received well, and to expand the restaurant chain if it is received well. These options may cause the project to have positive expected NPV. That is true, right? That is true. That's basically the essence of the rear option for this project. So we have a final check. Very good.